with this blank expression.
Bobby Hundreds. We're sitting here on the stoop of 7909 Rosewood. This is the Hundreds retail store here in Los Angeles, California. And, it's a beautiful day. We just opened on Thursday, and so it hasn't even been a week that it's been open. We had a really good opening weekend, and we're really excited about the whole thing. It kind of it did a lot for us. It really opened our eyes to a lot of different elements about the brand that we hadn't particularly considered before.
Yeah.
There's nothing like having your own store to where they can really gauge a sense of the brand and figure out what we do and who we are and everything, just, you know, from the visual aesthetics alone to what our brand represents, the colors that we use, you know, to like our attention to detail, the people that we're associated with and hanging out with, and even the music that we're playing in the store. Like, these are all things that come directly from us. There's no middleman anymore. Oh, what influences the Hundreds? Everything. And that's pretty much the gist of our brand, and what we represent is just, it's based in California culture, which is everything. If you come to LA and you come to California, you'll see it's just a total melting pot, not just in terms of like race and ethnic background, but in terms of interests. And, you know, if you're into skateboarding and hip hop and punk, you can be into all those types of things now. And growing up, like, I didn't really have access to a clothing brand that represented those types of things. Like, I was into all those different facets of subculture, but I never really had that one clothing brand that represented all of that.
Yeah.
Every part of this store, everything is custom made, first of all, and every little part of the store means something to me, to us, Ben and I. It's very personal and relevant to our brand. Even just like, a lot of people think this stuff is cool, but it actually represents Ben and I. Like, this is my side and that's Ben's side, and it basically means like we live and die where this store begins. You know, this was our everything. Like, this is my entire life is kind of encompassed in this store. So even like, you know, the blacks are a direct reflection of how our brand appears. You know, we use a lot of blacks. Like, if you look at,
why did you use the black one?
Why do we use black a lot?
Yeah.
Because of California culture and the California culture that we grew up in. Not to glorify it, but even gang culture, punk rock culture, heavy metal, hip hop, even NWA days, they all had a common denominator of using a lot of the black color.
Yeah.
And so that, of course, had to play into the brand. That's half of the brand. On top of that, it's like juxtaposed with like really vibrant colors, and we use a lot of fluorescence and pastels, and that comes from growing up in the 80s and 90s, like just being a Saturday morning cartoon kid and being into fresh jive and into like loud, crazy colors of the early 90s skateboarding scene. Yeah. So those two things are, you know, where our brand diverges, you know, that's why we cram both of those together. So the whole store is a lot of blacks and tonal blacks, you know, just from the woods, and, you know, we painted this beautiful oak wood, but the dressing room is just like this crazy poppy.
But that's true.
People think, when they automatically think of the Hundreds, they imagine something really poppy and a little bright and vibrant. So when they first come to the store, it's really muted and like kind of like a little more ominous, but when you go in and out of the dressing room, you can see that light up, you know, and it's always going to be there. So yeah, everything says something about us, just from the colors to the construction. This right here is an art space. It's a revolving art display, and that's just an extension of our website, where we wanted to showcase different artists and designers through the chronicles that people probably are familiar with. And instead of just having it on the website, you can actually come here and see every season a different artist who constructs a different 3D art installation. First one up is our friend Topher, who's going to be doing something in March. And you know, the apparel's all around. The computer screen is implemented also because we're not, you know, any shame to admit, we're not embarrassed at all to admit that the internet is half of what we do and the screen is half of what we do. So when people come to the store, they can literally take their photo in that computer photo booth, take a photo of themselves, so now they're a part of the store, now they're a part of the website.
I'm gonna take the...
Yeah, go ahead. So they can come here, you can, you know, we can look at the camera right here, look right in, up here. take a funny picture, and that directly uploads to the website. And this way, even if you're halfway across the world, you wish you could be in the 100 store, but you're stuck in Japan, you can still go to the website and see what was going on that day, and still be plugged into our lifestyle. You can still see the interactions that we're making every day, and just who is around and what they look like and what we're doing every day. Every t-shirt has a story behind it. You know, a lot of people saw this come out last season. They just thought it was some random all-over print with like safety pins or whatever, but it has a direct reference to punk rock culture and you know.
Who did all the design?
I do all the design.
All the design?
Yeah.
So each design have a story?
Each design has a story that relates to something that I was going through either at the time I was designing it or just that particular season. This is one of our old shirts. This is our entire vintage collection. We've kept things over 3 years that we've decided to bring back, and this is just Native Americans. When we first entered the war, I made that shirt, and it was just like my feelings of what we were doing as a nation, as America, going into Iraq. And you know, I have a lot of political views that I like to express through the clothing, and some people might not like it and some might not, but it says take by force, and it's basically how we're exercising ourselves and representing ourselves as a nation. So these are all things that were on my mind and things that were on my conscience. Everything has some kind of meaning, like so even something as, you know, seemingly meaningless as this, you know, this is something that was inspired by what I was into in growing up in high school, and the cartoons and the Gat and early streetwear brands. This whole season, this was fall of last year, was inspired by all those brands, and a lot of people might not have figured it out, but
and
it
this
meant
new
something
all
to
over
us.
the cherry. Why the cherry?
Cherry is just representing like punk and rockabilly and hot rod culture, and you know, just something so simple as a pattern could just represent an entire subculture. Why the bomb?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of a long story, but when we were thinking of a logo, I'm always drawn to logos that are really simple.
Yeah.
Like the most easiest logos are the most memorable ones, the ones that you can literally just draw, like a little kid such as Max could sit there and draw like a, you know, a bomb. But it's also tied into just 80s cartoons and, you know, just that explosion that, you know, catching your eye. So I grew up I'm an 80s kid. Yeah. Cartoons was everything, and a huge Garfield and Calvin and Hobbes fanatic, and I watched Saturday mornings religiously, and I always, you know, when I was a kid, I would tell everyone that I was going to make a living off of drawing cartoons all day. I'm going to figure out a way to do it, you know, without just becoming a cartoonist or working at Walt Disney. I'm going to find out a way to make a living off my art, and this is what happened. Even when we stepped it up last year, we introduced the Hundreds public label. It's a little bit more sophisticated cut and sew line. It's made of, you know, wovens and especially our denim, raw denim selvage, a lot of really high-end selvage denim, the washes and everything like that. It goes through me. Like when people know that it's me because they follow on the website, they see me actually flying to Hong Kong, and I'm trying to show them, you know, like stick with me and you can watch the process as it happens.
I saw you.
Yeah. If you have a question, you know, if you have like a question about like, oh, how do I get denim made, you can just email me because I'm there. So it's just like a way for me to, you know, just.
So you really want to share everything, each part of the company.
I'm willing to share everything. Yeah. I don't hold back any parts. I don't have anything to hide. I don't care. Like I'm not scared. I'm not like trying to be competitive. If anyone has any questions, like ask me. I'll point the way, or like at least try to give you some kind of advice. You know, when I was a kid and I was really into brands like Stussy and Fresh Drive, there was no internet. So it was pretty impossible to directly contact Rick Klotz or Sean Stussy. And so now that I have the opportunity to kind of help out, or, you know, give a few bits of advice to a kid here or there, like I'm definitely willing to take it. You know, just a few words here, just anyone that comes up to me on the street, you know, I'll go to a movie theater and some kid will come up to me and say like, oh hey man, like I'm trying to start a t-shirt brand, like what advice do you have? Like I'll try to help you out.
I can't live without you.